The New York Islanders are dealing with a lot of injuries, but they're finding ways to stay in the playoff hunt. We're going to discuss how they're getting it done, including a surprising change in strategy. All that and more on today's Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. The New York Islanders, well, they have been dealing with a lot of injuries. 3 of their top 6 defensemen have been out, including Adam Pelech and Ryan Pulock, who are both now on the long-term injured reserve. And you would think that a defense-first team like the Islanders that has really been successful in recent years because they're able to keep other teams from scoring more than anything else, they would really be struggling with Adam Pelech, Ryan Pulock, and Scott Mayfield out of the lineup. Now, Mayfield did return for the New Year's Eve game in Pittsburgh, so he is at least back. But no, the Islanders have been finding ways to win, and a lot of it has to do with 2 things. Number one, you had the general manager, Lou Lamoriello, do a great job of getting some short-term answers into the lineup. Mike Riley signed off of waivers from the Florida Panthers. He has stepped in and added some offense and the ability to help the transition game of clearing the puck out of the zone and transitioning from defense to offense, something the Islanders had been struggling with a lot. The other aspect of it is that he traded for Robert Bortuzzo and from the St. Louis Blues for a 7th-round pick. And again, Bortuzzo adds size, he adds physicality, he is really a specialist in his own zone, but Bortuzzo really gave them a steady veteran presence until Mayfield came back, in which case Bortuzzo ended up being the first guy to sit when Mayfield returned to the lineup on New Year's Eve. So those 2 moves certainly helped. But the other thing that has helped is that head coach Lane Lambert of the Islanders really figured out that his team, under the circumstances, instead of trying to win 2-1 or 3-2, really needed to have the defensemen be a little bit more aggressive, to pinch, to join the rush a little bit more than they did, in the past under Barry Trotz, or even last year, especially late last year when Matthew Barzal was lost due to injury. And the result has been that the Islanders have been steadily climbing the goals scored category in the league. They're right in the middle right now through 35 games. They're 17th in the league in goals scored. And that really does make a difference. Now, it has cost them a little bit on the back end. Goals against, they are 18th in the league. And, they are giving up a lot more shots on goal right now than they did in the past. The only team in the NHL that has given up more shots on goal per game than the New York Islanders is the San Jose Sharks. And we all know that, the Sharks are in a full rebuild right now. And that's why you look at the statistics for the 2 goaltenders, Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov. Sorokin has still a .911 save percentage, but his goals against average is 3.17, which is much higher than what you would expect from Sorokin. And it's not that he's playing badly. He's probably playing a B or a B plus kind of a game, where last year he was an A minus or an A. But the problem is that he's just facing so many more shots and so many quality high danger chances against that it is more difficult for the Islanders to keep pucks out of the net. The other factor defensively has been the blossoming of Noah Dobson. Dobson has 35 points in 35 games, 6 goals, 29 assists, 13 of those points, 1 goal, 12 assists, coming on the power play. But Dobson has stepped up his minutes, playing more than 26 minutes a game for, especially since you lost Pelech, Pulock, and Mayfield. And he has just improved with his confidence with the puck, with his ability in the defensive zone. He's also right now leading the team with 81 blocked shots, and he is really getting the job done defensively at a level that a year ago nobody really would have deemed possible. So that has been a big addition for the Islanders. And then 2 other factors, I think, that has allowed the Islanders to stay in the hunt for the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. And that is, number one, the power play has been significantly better. Last year, it was among the worst power plays in the league. This year, they've been finding ways to get the job done. Puck movement, a lot more fast, cross-ice passing, something that I was discussing all year last year on Locked On Islanders, and it just did not happen. This year, they really have. And John McClain, who coaches the power play, the assistant coach, has really made some nice adjustments this year and should be congratulated. And then I think the other big factor is the chemistry that is developed between Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal. And, last year they were only together for about 6 games after Horvat was acquired for Vancouver. And then Barzal was lost for the rest of the season. Yeah, he did come back in the playoffs, but by that point, he had missed 20 plus games. He was not in the usual hockey shape, and it just wasn't going well for, Barzal and Horvat to get that chemistry down. This season, they really have done a very good job of working together. And you see now Barzal, 36 points in 34 games. Horvat, 35 points in 34 games. They are learning how to complement each other, how to work well together. And I think you add to that the fact that Matthew Barzal moved to the wing to play with Bo Horvat, and it limits some of the negative things he does when he holds the puck too long. Limiting him to one side of the ice has made him more effective with the puck when he chooses to hold on to it, and that has been helpful, reducing the turnovers, creating more scoring chances, and it has been great to see from an Islanders standpoint. So those are some of the reasons that the Islanders have been able to get back into the playoff hunt, and they were as high as second place in the Metropolitan Division heading into this weekend's games. So, a lot going on right now. Standings are tight, but this Islanders team learning, growing, and hoping that Adam Pelech and Ryan Pulock can return and that they can hold on and continue to play well until they get back. So, if you want to learn more about the Islanders, you can follow the Locked On Islanders podcast with me, Gil Martin. You can follow us on X at Locked On Isles. And of course, you can find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Google, wherever. Also, of course, you can follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI, and we'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all season long. So the Islanders looking good so far this season, and, want to just hope that they can keep going, because it's going to be a very competitive and very rough road in a very tight Metropolitan Division. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 bucks in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, or make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and a lot more. And it's not just the NFL. You've got college football, you've got the NBA, college basketball, and yes, you could use your knowledge of the NHL on FanDuel as well. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.